Welcome to the George FT TV YouTube channel. Today we'll discuss a bit of strategy and structure. So always sort of fun to talk about those topics. Did a little bit of strategy talk the other day. And structure, well, that will take care of itself in round zero and buys. But I still think there are a few concerns in trying to figure out where the money is. I think maybe the forward line is where the money makers might be this year. A bit in the midfield too. Defenses, I think, is shaky. A lot of sub risk, but we'll find out. So in time, but thought I'd touch on that. Also, wouldn't mind doing a Q&A. So if you have a question, feel free to put it in the comments and I'll read it out in a video. Get through as much as I can. More than happy to do one of those videos. But very much this preseason for me, it's been every 4 or 5 days, just do a video. I don't know, team update, injury news or whatever I've dug up on training reports and stats and whatever I've researched, and just share that and sort of, progress, do videos as news comes through. So a lot of other good content creators putting in, 10 times the work I am. So make sure you subscribe to, if you're watching someone, make sure you subscribe to them because it helps us out. We're a small community relative in YouTube terms, so it's hard to grow huge when pretty capped at, Australia's 26-7 million people. I've have no idea, but NFL fantasy plus international, they got a much 20 times the audience. So it'd be good to help out other content creators that deserve it, which a lot of them do because they're putting in massive work, a lot more than me. But regardless, we'll get into the video. So on the agenda today, we'll touch on where the money is, or I think it'll be. We'll touch on Sinclair, Roberts and Short. I've got Nick Haynes here. That's staring at me in the face. I can't speak. Not a pretty sight, but I'll touch on that, and it's preseason pick, so I'm probably not going to end up picking him, but I'll touch on what I found on him. Defender rookies to touch on. Not really much to talk on primo mids. I guess we'll touch on Adam Chera. Adam, that pick's sort of bothering me in the potential that pick has. I go to Ollie Hollands. I'll touch on that. Ruck line. I found a 300k Ruckman that could be interesting, but maybe not. And then in the forward line, we'll touch on Rankin, Horn-Francis, and Parker. I don't have any of them. And also I've added Hutchinson. Still got Marich. It's Marich, not Marek. Matic. Obviously R2 Reedy. That's not very unlikely to be realistic. So team looks nice. Then you look at R2, it's like, that's why it looks not too bad. So in terms of depth. So we'll discuss. We'll start off with where I think the money is this year. So I think we'll get the following rookies. I'm pretty sure we'll get Jagger. It sounds like we'll get Zach Reed. And yes, Zach Reed is super injury prone, but it's really his only risk, injury at that price. You've got like a Patton who could be an injury risk. Not injury risk, sub risk. The rookies I'm pretty sure we'll get Jagger Smith, we'll get Zach Reed, we'll get Elijah Hewitt, especially with Yo out. And sounds like we're going to almost certainly get Davidson. So I would definitely be popping those 4. If you were severely burnt by Zach Reed and you don't want to go there, I understand. But Jagger, Davidson, Hewitt, I'm sure you already have probably Hewitt and Jagger, but Davidson as well. Get those 3 in your team. Forward rookies, we're going to have a Kako, we're going to have a Berry. Are these guys going to score much? I don't really know. I think it sounds like Berry maybe has a slightly better scoring game, if that makes sense, like sort of gets up the ground heaps. And I think that's sort of what Port want to do, like with Richards and Berry, sort of guys that can get up the ground a bit. We saw that half forwards at Hawthorn, at Geelong. Just super successful, having, they see half forwards play pretty dead role at times, unrewarding role, but now that, looking at Hawthorn, like Connor McDonald, Dylan Moore, like extremely effective. Same with at Geelong as well. So maybe that's sort of what they're going for there. So Berry could be an okay one. Maybe Keiko, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I guess we'll see if we get Erasmus. We'll see. We'll see about that. Defender rookies, if you can tell me someone you know will definitely play and score well and avoid the sub, let me know, because I'm not sure. Patton is interesting because he was in the B team. He's been in the A team most of preseason from what I've read, and if not all the preseason, but there was a game where they did 18 versus 18, and he was in the B team. So when they were doing 22, he was in the A team. So that means he's in that 19 to 23 range, you would think, which means sub risk. So, well, I think so. Bit slightly worried there, but I see like Travalia. I don't really want to fork another 50k for Travalia just because if I'm forking out a bit of extra cash for rookies, I want them to have a pretty good role. Or even like this 250k range, you're kind of just hoping these guys, Garcia, Marich, and Hutchinson, you kind of hope they get a decent role, or at least like a partial decent role where they can make money when they're 250k. I think is priced at like 35, 40 or something like that. And you kind of hope with a half decent role they can do like 65, 70, which is like not massive, but it's going to make money. And you hope for no sub risk, but defender rookie's a little bit shaky. Not going to go through all of them. Like Bo Allen, I don't know. Is he best 22? I mean, probably. I think it looks like he'll get a spot in the back line. I don't know a lot about Bo Allen, to be honest, so maybe I'll just wait for practice games and then make not necessarily a final call, but just see what we look at. But it sounds like he'll play defense. Bustling out. I'm not sure Bus is the direct replacement for Jones, like maybe first thought, but we'll see. But yeah, I think the money, Davidson, Hewitt, Sardis, Smith, and I think you want, if Sardis is playing and Jagger's playing, which Jagger will, I think you want them on field. And we're not asking for like Dacos or Sheasel numbers. We're just like 70s will be good. And hopefully goes well enough to not be sub. So look, long story short, I'm a little bit nervous if we're going shallow in defense. So the plan originally for me was get Ollie Hollins. And the logic behind Hollins was he did like 80 plus while Newman was scoring 120s in the last few games of last year. So hopefully that was a bump. And he looked all right at halfback, but training reports saying that he had a shocker in terms of his kicking at halfback. And it might be a one-off, but we have known that kicking isn't... kicking could be an issue for Ollie Hollins. At the same time, if that happens during the game, could they pull the sub on him? Could they move him to a wing if it's not working? And as soon as one of those two things happen, it's disaster, catastrophe. So yeah. Just trying to think ahead. I don't want to run that risk. And 330k for a non-keeper. But all going well. Like, I still think he should score okay back there, given what I said before, like 80 plus with Newman doing 120. So we'll see. But I don't feel as confident as I was probably a few weeks ago. So we'll just let that one go for now. And I guess defenders we'll touch on as well. So Sinclair replacements. Now, if you still want to run Sinclair, because he probably will be fine for round one, sounds... The report's not out yet, the injury report, but they did say not serious or avoided major damage, which is good for the Saints because they need a bit of luck. But, man, I don't like starting players that do hamstrings in preseason. I'll sit that one out. So, it's 30 now as well. So, yeah, I was looking at a full preseason, but... now I'm out. He'll probably be fine. He's not going to miss probably too much if it is a small hammy, but should be right to go. But just the risk of re-injury always makes me nervous. And yeah, the mid-injuries during upgrade season are absolutely catastrophic. So if I can find an alternative pick, then I'll go that route. And the last video I did say is if I need another defender, it will be Matt Roberts. And that's where we're at the moment. So do have Roberts. Seen a few people with short. Spoke to Swizz on the Insider channel. I think sounds like he's off short, and just like the confidence levels of Richmond supporters in short, it seems to be a little bit split. Some people like him, some don't. I'll sit out on short. He's done three calves and a hammy in the past 2 years, and you just don't know like what level of what's he gonna do. Like, feels bad to pick Richmond players, to be honest. Yes, he'll get a lot of ball back there, but what's the motivation like for those players? Like, I don't know. yeah, it's just they're just going to be bottom. It's going to be a crap year for a lot of them. It's a development year, so yeah, I'll sit out on short. There's enough reasons for me to sit out, but I definitely think it will do better than last year. I have Nick Haynes at the moment, 30, turning 33. Like, how's this going to work? And there's a bit of talk on Twitter about Haynes. I looked at his stats and just hear me out for a second. And I'm not saying he's going to be a good pick. I just found this interesting. So I sort of understand. I did research on this last preseason for whatever reason, because he was subbed so many times. But we're looking at Carlton. We need to look at the Giants. So Nick Haynes just got the 2 kick-ins. So this year he pretty much played a lot of wing and just subbed everywhere. Oh, this is 2023. I thought he got subbed in 2024, but he didn't get much game time. There's a one switch to Supercoach. I'll zoom in as well, just because it's probably hard to see on your phone or whatever. But as we can see in the VFL, we need to go to fantasy because there's no VFL stats for Supercoach. Let's do fantasy just for argument's sake. If you look at the VFL stats, okay, 74, 92, 140, 98, 143, 121, 152, 148, 106. So that's a 119 average from 9 games in the VFL. This is last year at his age. I mean, it's promising. It is VFL, but I mean, it's not a bad sign. 39 touches here, 38 touches there. So you can find the ball. He's a former All-Australian. And I think his AFL stats, like, a lot of it was on the wing because they've got a like really settled back 6, and Perryman I think was the 7th, but you got Ash, Whitfield, Iden, Himmelberg, and then you got your 2 keys. So there was not really any spot for him. I guess maybe he could have played Himmelberg's role, but they pretty much have to play Himmelberg given his contract. So what did he last do at AFL level in the role? So 2024, yeah, as we went over, like sub games everywhere. This is 2023. Yeah, sorry, 2023 sub games everywhere. But in the first 9 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is DT. Let's look at, hopefully that stays highlighted, but I doubt it. Sorry, we go again. 1, 2, 3. Am I clicking the right thing? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 94 average before he got injured here, I guess. I'm guessing that's I think that was concussion from memory. I'd have to double check. But yeah, start of 2023, first 9 games, he did 94. And you look at Carlton's defence, and as part of the appeal of the Hollands pick, where the hell are the points going? It sounds like they're persisting with Doherty up the ground. So where are the points going? Could go to a bit, spread out everywhere. Haynes, does Cowan take a bit of it up? Hollands is there. Whoever else, I don't know. So I was a bit confused, like, who the hell's scoring the points? I think it's all gone to Hollands. Maybe Haynes takes a bit of it. Is he definitely best 22? I definitely think so. He's been in the ones, and it sounds like he's been impressive, but yeah, I think it was our Patton did mention him on Twitter and just did a bit of looking into it. So I thought it was worth a look. 370k for a 94 average. No guarantee he does that because he actually could play key defense. I'm a little bit confused, like who the key defenders are outside of Wiedering. Like, is it Silvani? Is it Young? I don't know. But that's something we'll keep an eye on. But again, part of this pick is like, who the hell are we picking in defense? Are we paying up for? Who are we paying up for? Someone with a buy? I don't know. Already got Roberts with the buy, so he's sort of just a filler player. Like, if I can maneuver him to someone else that I like, he'll probably go. But again, as well, part of the appeal with Carlton players, Richmond, West Coast, and North in the first 6 weeks. I mean, bit of a piss take, really, but I guess you just use it to your advantage in fantasy and Supercoach, but see how he goes. But That's the defense, really. Just want to discuss less team specific, but more just a few things. But I think Haynes is worth a look. Obviously, age and stuff not ideal. Turning 33, but scored fine last year. Midfield. I don't know. I really like these. I've always liked Andy. Always love Dawson. Like everybody loves Bontempelli, and Butters is just, oh man, that was one of the worst antipods for the first half of the last year. You just was watching with one eye open every game. Like, is he going to pop a 200 this game? Is he going to pop a 170? It's got Richmond round 2. I don't see... Butters doesn't need the 80% CBAs to average 120. He just needs like mid-60s. So I think that's completely sustainable for him. Did get subbed off as well one game. But yeah, they're my 4. A little bit of an overspend in obviously Reedy R2. One of them will have to go for, I don't know who R2 is. It's a bit of a shambles, but the mid that sort of lives rent free in my head a bit is Adam Chera. Just thinking about, he basically pushed 110. Last time was fully fit. 5 hammies in 12 months. Full preseason, been to Qatar. Looking really good. This is, I don't think he'll be highly owned, but yeah, again, same as Haynes and Holland's, like West Coast North, West Coast North in Richmond in the first 6 games, so pretty nice run. But yeah, Chera, what if he does 110 and he's 450k, but he's not highly owned, but it's not so much the ownership you got to worry about. It's more who the people at the top got, not majority. So this is a sort of pick that can rock you up the ranks. You know, it must be priced in the 80s, 450. So like, if he can do 30 points upside, we don't have him. That's a bit of a problem. The injury risk absolutely scares me though, and I think I would rather pay an extra 100k for Dawson. I'd rather pay an extra 70 for Ed Richards. Although Ed Richards has done a hammy in 2023, but it was ages ago now. But still, like, I like my midfielders, premium midfielders with like no soft tissue history. The only time I took one was Tom Green, and he worked out fine. He's young and whatnot, but I just prefer players that, you know, don't have repeated soft tissue history. So he might be fine, but I'm not picking Chera, but I am sort of worried if I don't have him and he goes well, because then we're sort of chasing a little bit where, yeah, I don't know. I'm paying extra 100 for Dawson. I'm okay with that. I guess Peatling as well. I think Peatling's been impressing, so it sounds like he's going to get a decent amount of mid-time. I don't know how much. I think the main 5 will be Dawson, Crouch, Peatling, Saligo, Rankin. Maybe spurts of Rochelle here and there. Not much, though. Maybe like 1 or 2 or something. But does Crouch stay in the team? I think so. See how they go. I do like Crouch. I understand why people might think he should be at the team, but we've got a bit more depth now. But I like Crouch here. I think he'll stay in the team. But yeah, led at halfback, so nothing to worry about there. But Peatling's staying for me. I think he's not a must-have, but keeps a rookie off the field. Keeps this sub-risk of the team looking a little bit better, if that makes sense. So less chance I field a rookie being subbed, put it that way. Now, Rucks are a shambles at the moment. So been reading a bit on TDK. He has had a limited preseason. Apparently his fitness dropped a little bit. That's just comments. I've seen at least 2 comments from Carlton supporters online. I mean, it's just supporters watching training, but just an observation, something to keep an eye on. Has had the limited preseason. Pitney's looking really good. Is this complete bait? Could they play both? I'm not sure on TDK. Definitely a lot of upside. And another one similar, like plays you don't want to antipod. Like, what if TDK replicates that form start of the season? You don't have him. It's problems. I think he's ownership's in the 30s, but there's no way he rocks solo all year, I think. I don't know if his body can take that, especially off limited prep. Not heavily limited, but did have something going on last year, like surgery or something, but was recovering from that. So I don't have TDK. A lot of people in Discord do not want Sherry, and I can understand why. The fixture is rough early on, and yeah, his back half of last year was complete Mickey Mouse matchups non-stop. But that being said, I still think he'll be top 2 ruckman. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. We're seeing a bit of an uptick in Max Gawn, 33 now. Every time I've doubted the great man, he's made sure that I was heavily punished for it, and it could happen again. I know this year, I guess he's 670. I think last year he was 100k cheaper. Or I guess relative with a discount, probably 120, 130k cheaper if we were using same pricing system. But, geez, I don't know if I want to pay that much in the ruck. I guess I could cull like a Brayshaw or a Dawson plus one of these mid prices to get Gawn in. We don't even know how long Sean Darcy's out for, or if Reedy's definitely going to play, but I think he will. I did tweet, is Reedy going to play? And a few Freo supporters said yes. That's what they did in the last few rounds. And Reedy did have a full game where he scored 29. So not great, but we need like 60 from him. And that's fine at that price. But a few things need to go right in terms of, or for him to play, in terms of Sean Darcy's timeline. So not really going to bother speculating on Sean Darcy's timeline, but yeah, I think remove screw from the foot, however long that takes. We'll probably find out a timeline this week. One ruck I want to touch on that nobody's talked about, and maybe there's a reason why no one's talked about it. So Nick Bryan, I believe, let's have a look at this. I asked an Essendon supporter on Discord who I trust, who I always ask questions about Essendon players on. Who are we looking for? Bryan. And he said he loves Nick Bryan. He thinks he's like a Tim English light, but he's in an unfortunate situation in the team with Draper. So there's 5 games he rucked here. So he got subs twice, playing 2 rucks. He averaged 71 off 70% TOG. The ruck contests are... Oops, let's go do that again. Oh, get off the screen, bro. Where's ruck contests? Okay. 78, 59, 70, 53, 68. Maybe that's sort of what he averages during the season. Apparently he's having a really good preseason, and they're playing Draper forward more. Or he's training forward a bit more. I believe he was interviewed, Nick Bryan. And yeah, he said Draper. I think he said hopefully he can get a bit of a bump in his ruck time, but he loves playing with Draper, and yeah, Draper's been playing a bit forward. So I think he increased his, I think it was fitness. Strength or fitness, one of the two. He said he's been working on one this preseason and he's improved on it. He's pretty young. My guess would be like 23, 24. So, 4th, 5th year as a ruckman, that's when they can start hitting their straps. Sometimes it takes a bit longer, but only 300k. Did play towards the end of last year. Now, could they sub one of these rucks off? I mean, maybe. Throw Draper in the ruck. But if he's looking really, really good, I like him. He's a good player. VFL stats not bad. Now, why isn't that red thing coming up? Let's have another look. Oh, we're looking at Supercoach. First 2 games not great, but after that, it scored quite well. 106, 107 average in the VFL. I mean, it's okay. I think sweet like 110 or something. So it's okay. It's not bad. That's DT as well, so don't get the points for that's the advantage. I like him. I think he's very talented. I think he's probably better than Draper. It sounds like he did beat Draper. So I think first half of match sim, it was Draper versus Bryan. And then the second half... no. That was the second half. Draper versus Bryan. But they played on the same team in the first half with Bryan mostly rucking and Draper mostly forward. And definitely see what happens with Peter Wright. But if he's not playing, they probably need Sam Draper forward. Just want to keep an eye on, because at the end of the day, it's a split ruck role, but maybe he gets, 60, 70% ruck, and maybe he can do like 85 plus for 300k, and that'll give us some time to look at the other rucks as well. one to think about. Yeah, come in and done a video and mentioned Nick Haynes and Nick Bryan. This preseason might not be going well, but hey, you research everything, you try and cover all bases, and I guess you consider everything and weigh up hopefully make a good decision or come to your senses. But look, I thought it was interesting. Sounds like he will improve, but enough to play him, start him, probably not, but yeah. Forward line, but yeah, again, this Reedy thing's probably unrealistic. Forward line, not much else to touch on here. I guess, as I said before, I think the money making is forward and maybe midfield in terms of rookies. The defender rookies make me very nervous, especially with we got Mills back here. Like Mills and Zach Reed, two of the most injury prone players in the comp. Zach Reed is the most injury prone player in the comp, arguably. Maybe Jack Martin too, but like Reed literally cannot get on the park. So things can fall apart pretty quick down back, and yeah, don't have Holland, or don't have anyone to swing back. You know, if Marich plays, he's already mid forward, so no swinging back. I guess like a Connor Stone, if he plays, could get defender status, but is he actually going to play? Not sure. So I don't have room for Horn Francis and Rankin because I think I want money makers in this slot, and I don't really want, like, defense makes me very nervous. So I guess that's part of the strategy and structure that we're going for here. So yeah, I already kind of touched on all these players, so don't really need to touch much more on them. Maybe just quickly on Marich and Hutchison. So Marich played in the Bs, took kick-ins, probably had one really bad kick-in, but otherwise played okay. I'm not sure if I haven't seen enough of him at halfback. There's one video of him in under 18s, which was like pretty average, to be honest, but was able to take a fair few marks and get 20 plus touches and take kick in. So the role looks to be good. Is he like a sub risk? Is he part of that back six? Like, I don't know yet. I guess we'll find out. The fact that he started on the B team and then they evened up the team, so it was a bit harder to tell. So, I mean, we'll see on Marich. Just the role seems really good. Just we'll try and see if he's worth paying up for if he plays well, but not sure. But again, practice games, always a bit of a worry because, yeah, uncontested players do well, less pressure on your kicking and whatnot, more space, players going, not getting out of second gear, stuff like that. And I got Hutchinson. Looks like he's going to be mostly wing. Now, should I pay $230K for someone mostly wing? Probably not, but he's played a bit on ball, and I did watch the tape, every single disposal or tackle or whatnot that he got in round 24 when he had, I think it was CBAs in the 30s and he turned up. I think his DT was only 70, but I thought his work around the ball was good, like a few contested handballs, gets on his bike pretty quick, so work rate looks pretty good. We'll see on Hutchinson. I kind of like him, to be honest, but I have a knack for liking unproven players that are like low picks or whatever. I think that's going to work and they never do. So he's in for now. Like, not attached to the pick massively, but who's their coach? Minnie McWalter did mention a whole heap of names of players that could run through the midfield, and Hutchinson was one of them. So maybe worth watching there. So we'll see. I think that's it from me. We'll leave it there. Oh, I guess Rankin and Horn Francis. Yeah, but I think both will definitely outdo their price. But again, just can't fit him in at the moment. Could they hurt you? Like Horn Francis antipoding. I think there's even in Discord and Twitter, both of them, you see like, how can you possibly fade Horn Francis? There's a good point if he breaks out and mid-time increases a lot, which to be honest, I can't really see happening if they just, Cairns always run all these plays in the mids, and at the moment Butters, Rosie, the other two, and Horn Francis, like none of them above 70% CBAs. Is he really going to get that massive bump? Because if Butters hasn't got that massive bump, then is Horn Francis going to get it? So maybe it's just like a 10% bump or something for Horn Francis. And yeah, obviously extremely dangerous deep forward as well, which we saw more of late in the season. So he could explode. I could look like an idiot for not picking him. I guess the way I think about it is I've got Dawson for almost the same price. I need Dawson to outdo Horn Francis. And not only that, Horn Francis shares with North, like Sheasel, Sherry, Daniel. Butters, like heap Bond, like just that buy is just a disaster at round 12, and I don't like thinking about that buy now. Sanders as well, but TDK as well. So yeah, I don't want to think too hard about the buys, but I'm just saying round 12 is the only one where a lot of popular plays are at. So and it's the first buy as well. So it gives you an upgrade target in round 13. Yeah, and Rankin, I guess. Yeah, his DT wasn't that good, but because he was able to win a fair bit contested and score assists as well, like so dangerous in that forward half. I don't know what the mid split is. My guess would be 40 to 50% mid. It could be a little bit more, but you got to fit all these players in, like Dawson, Peatling, Saligo, maybe Crouch too. So could they use like a Berry as a sub? I'm not too sure, but I think those would be the main 5. So we'll see on Rankin. Definitely upside with the Rankin pick. Again, like I'd just rather pay like Jordan Clark in defense. Maybe Rankin can beat Clark, but again, Clark's more durable. Need someone in the back line, and yeah, trying to fit moneymakers in the forward line. We do have to remember it's great to have all these points on the field and whatnot, but we still need to look after our cash gen and not be in a bad position. If Callum Mills goes down, like we could be in strife in defense. Plus, like rookies start getting subbed, or we don't get the rookies. So something to look at. I guess Sato or Hawley as well. Probably didn't talk about him, but I'm not sure if he's. I think he played in the A, so maybe he does get a spot, but sub riskers too. But worry about that in a few weeks. But that's it from me. Yeah, should be good. So leave a question in the comments. I'll try and answer it in a video if you want. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.